Today is October 15th. My name is Judy Showalter, and I am here with Dr. Boldridge as part of the Living Legacies Oral History Project for Randolph-Macon College. Lori Preston and Sarah Hendricks from Randolph-Macon College are here, as well as Mrs. Boldridge and their daughter, Kathy Ellis. How did you first hear about Randolph-Macon College?
It's a very simple one. My brother heard about it, older brother, and he decided to come here. And so when I came along, it just more or less automatic. I guess that's what, not much more that a person can say about it, except I've never had an occasion to regret it.
What were your first impressions of the campus?
Dilapidated. I think it was in my third year, the maintenance department finally got a wagon and one horse. And that's what they had to use. I'm trying to emphasize, no tractor,
Just a horse and wagon.
horse and wagon.
Did you have electricity and plumbing? What was?
And in that particular winter, there was more snowfall than usual. And they had an awful time getting it cleared away. We get a wagon load of snow and haul it out.
Where did you live when you came to Randolph-Macon?
Well, what?
Where did you live? Were you in a cottage or a dormitory?
Third floor of the middle wing of Mary Branch, on the right-hand end. And that was a very convenient location because it had access to the roof of North Wing. So you went up there for sunbathing.
We've heard a lot of stories about students on the roof of Thomas Branch. I didn't realize students were out on the roof of Mary Branch as well.
I never heard about Thomas Branch. But there weren't a whole lot. As I recall, most of the students were not in Thomas Branch. It was due for renovation, which is a long time coming.
What kind of renovation? Like, did you have good electrical service or good plumbing? What kind of renovations were they doing? What kind of?
Painting,
Okay.
floors, windows. Just that looks like it ought to be improved. So you go do it.
Okay. Coming from a rural county background, how did you afford higher education?
The family did it. I wasn't privy to what had to be done.
Did you receive any scholarships?
Yes, but not chicken feed by today's standards. It seems to me that the total expense of a semester meals for less than $500. But that was 500 real dollars.
Did you work at all? Did you have a job to help out?
When I could get it. The competition was there. So yeah, I remember on one occasion, they wanted somebody to pull weeds in the old town. Saturday afternoon. I pulled weeds all Saturday afternoon for 25 cents. And didn't feel I'd been cheated.
Now, did you work on campus? Did you have a campus job?
Yes. For my junior and senior year, I was one of the physics assistants.
Okay. And what did physics assistants do?
Whatever they were asked to.
Kind of like student assistants now.
What it consisted of primarily was putting equipment out for the experiment and then taking it up, cleaning it as necessary. And that was the main thing.
You mentioned a minute ago that the $500 included meals. But we didn't have a dining hall. Where did you eat?
Private homes.
And do you remember who you boarded with?
Ms. Luck,
And where was Miss Luck's house?
you know where the heating plant is?
Mm-hmm.
It was about 50 feet east of the heating plant. And I don't remember now. It seems to me there was one other house on the corner. I don't remember whether there were two. Who lived there?
Next to Miss Luck?
I'm supposed to know.
Do you know who lived next to Mrs. Luck?
Well, it doesn't really fit into it. It may occur to me.
How did you pick boarding houses? I mean, were you assigned your boarding house, or did you
No.
select, or did Mrs. Luck select?
I really don't know.
Or your brother boarded with Mrs. Luck, so you did?
Probably. Probably.
Probably.
There were advertisements for the boarding houses in the fishtails. Do you think that may be how your affairs chose?
I don't think they were in the fishtails when my brother came, and I don't.
33, first year.
I'm just not sure.
Can you tell us about arriving on campus as a freshman? What was it like to be the new kid?
Well, you can easily imagine what it was like. Segregation is what it was like. You had a group of kids just arrived on campus and not taking in the intricacies. Those that are already there, too high and mighty. And so as a consequence, you may make an attempt at being friendly and social. You can speak, but you're unconsulted. Pretty soon you find somebody else, same boat that you are. And right away you're friends. And that's what happened to me. My brother had been, don't have anything to do with freshmen. And you can understand that it's a normal human reaction.
I think it is. Who were some of your friends?
Beg pardon?
Who were some of your friends?
Who were some of the
Your friends, freshman year, who did you make friends with? Can you remember the names?
Edgar Sheldon was the number one crony. He died 2-3 years ago. There were various others. One I saw, 6 months ago. I don't remember his name now.
You were on the swim team at some point. Do you remember any of those friends? Did you have friends on the swimming team?
Well, by the time swimming got started, this initial barrier had all evaporated. There were too many athletically inclined freshmen. So, athletics being the mover that it really is, that helped.
What about activities on campus? What did you do?
I read a lot. I had to do a good deal of writing. All longhand, no typewriter.
No typewriters.
I spent writing and reading were the primary activities. I can illustrate it maybe a little better. There was a low-level math course covering some stuff that I had never known before. I read a few pages. That's easy. Took a test. 75 or it was a real wake-up call. It came in time to sell it. I figured a lot of boys and girls have that same experience.
They still do.
At some point, you were very active. There was a college radio station, and radio was always interesting to you. Was that during your student time? I remember, or when you were on the faculty? But I remember there was a radio station in the old gym upstairs. Was that when you were a student or when you were on the faculty?
Student.
They might like to hear about the radio station.
I can't.
WMRA. I think it was WMRA. I just saw pictures yesterday.
I really was peripherally, technically consultant. I was not consulted in terms of what programs, how long. I was consulted when something went wrong.
You were very good with the equipment, because I know up at the farm you collected and had worked on a lot of radio.
Yeah.
You were knowledgeable about the equipment.
What it really boiled down to, there were a couple of students, two specifically, that they were just hell-bent radio station. One of them was David Gwynn. And the other one, name slips me. But I remember David Gwynn for a simple reason. His home was right up near where, I guess it's Road 3. Right there, a mile or two.
What was your academic major?
Chemistry.
Chemistry? And who was your major professor?
What?
Who was your major professor? Who did you take your most classes from?
I'm not sure I had one.
Okay. Who did you take classes from?
Huh?
Who in general did you take classes from?
Nearly all faculty.
Can you name some of them?
Yeah.
Do you have some favorite memories, maybe the ones who stick out that you have a story or a memory about?
Oh, yes. But that's trivia.
It's not, it's
No,
good, it's
it's
interesting, that's what
wonderful.
it gives color to the personality.
Okay.
But I mean,
And
anything that you
so many
remember.
of our buildings are named for these people that it really helps our students to know who was Dr. Keeble and why do we have a Keeble Observatory? Why is that name important?
You got anything else to do?
No, they can speak
Yeah.
all afternoon. Just the stories, the stories you remember. But you pick Dr. Keeble. You have his desk. In fact, I have it at the farm. Dr. Keeble, when he retired, gave Dad his desk, so they were very close. And I have it at the farm.
Miss Keeble gave it to me.
Oh, okay. But I think he'd be pleased.
Is that, where's that barometer?
Barometer? A barometer? Do you,
Taylor Instrument Company.
It's downstairs,
Oh,
I
I'm
think.
sorry.
she said it's downstairs. Do you want me to go get it?
I don't,
I tell you what, if you just think about Dr. Bullington or Dr. Cantor, Dr. Keeble,
Update.
Dr. Updike, if you can, they like funny stories, and you know what? Nobody's gonna come back and fuss at you for telling secrets. So just think back when you were a student, who did you gain from, and really that would have been who would have modeled, you could have modeled your teaching after, because you had
Okay,
examples set for you. I know you've told me.
Dr. Keeble was head of the physics department. And Mr. McNeil was, have you run across him? He was second in command physics. I'm not sure whether Keeble taught any math, but McNeil did. He was officially in the math department. In chemistry, likewise, there were two faculty members. The older was Cantor. And he could tell more good stories than anybody I know. Keeble as well. But anyhow, he had gone to Johns Hopkins to get his PhD because it was my impression that he said the only place to get it in this country. This was before 1900. And I don't believe there was anybody else full-time. You know what I mean by full-time?
I know what I think full-time means.
What do you think I mean?
What? That are paid by the college to do nothing but teach.
Teach that particular subject.
Right.
Full-time chemistry means just chemistry
They
course.
just teach chemistry.
And you had those three disciplines. Go ahead. You had things like English, foreign language, lots of little courses that you tend to forget. Yeah, that's it. This was,
Tell us about it, because I don't know about this.
well, I don't know a great deal about it, except it's heavy.
It's lovely.
It's a barometer. Was it Dr. Keebles?
Yeah. And Miss Kiva gave it to me. Let's make sure somehow. You know where the football field was? How can I orient where Kiva and Bullington's houses were?
Well, it's Patrick Street, and I think there are probably the offices.
That's enough.
Yeah.
Patrick and Henry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Henry and Patrick.
Mm-hmm.
That intersection was Bullington's, I think.
Okay.
That was the Bullingtons on the corner.
Okay. And that's
And next to that would be Keeble.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then was Dr. Day in what's
Dr.
the
Day.
admissions office? I
That's,
think
I say
now.
Dr. Day's house is still there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dr. Day's
So,
house.
were the Keebles
you
then
go.
in the house next
There
to
were
them?
two smaller brick.
One of them's still there. It's got a sorority in it.
And then there's the financial aid office just moved into the one directly. if you're
That's the,
looking at-
that's the,
That's the pain,
Webb.
was the honors house.
right, but the panels never lived there.
Right.
It was not named that because of, since they lived there, that was Paul
Webb,
Canner's house.
Webb's.
The Webbs lived on the corner in the really interesting
Webb.
house. They lived on the end of
And
Patrick
you go
Street.
a little around further, you'll get to where Gertie Sloan lived.
Okay. And she was Dr. Hatcher's daughter, right?
Now,
That's where the church, they pulled in.
he was a Methodist preacher
Mm-hmm.
who became vice president of Randolph-Macon.
Mm-hmm.
That much I'm sure of. I can't. Yeah, you said the panel. Where did he live?
They lived in several different faculty apartments.
Yeah, they were, Mrs. Panel had told us they were always promised a house and they never really got one. They just kept moving from apartment to apartment.
So they lived in the Blackwell house for a while, and they lived in the Mabry house for a while.
Close friends, so I'm not sure, but I know that they were in at least one location for a matter of years.
I think the Bullingtons, did the Bullingtons have the little brick house on the corner of Henry and Patrick? Was it,
That's what I just said.
right, and then the Keebles.
He was next to it, also brick.
They would have been Girl Scout cookie customers.
So there's still a brick house there. Alpha Gamma Delta's in it. That might have been the Keebles house.
And then the psychology building was a long white wooden building on the other side of Patrick. It was a all long, low.
Yeah.
But Dr. McEwen, because the McEwens were good friends of you all when you were in faculty years. I knew many of you.
And economics was next to psychology, and that was another ugly little bit.
It was long, low.
I think
Like,
there was more surplus.
Mm-hmm.
Looks
That,
it.
yeah,
It
that would
looks
make
it.
sense.
Mhm.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
At the time when I was around, right near the entrance was the largest holly tree I think I've ever seen. It was a great big.
Hmm. Now, when you say near the entrance, where did you consider the entrance to the college? Which is still an issue.
People went and came through the front door, mostly.
talking about the holly tree, what entrance are you talking about? The entrance to,
Off of Henry Street.
okay,
Henry
onto
Street.
Patrick?
Come from Henry. No,
Okay.
come from Henry and straight into the building.
Straight into what?
Into the building.
Psychology.
Psychology?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
A lot of the ologists.
A lot of the ologies over there. Yeah, David and I really liked that because when we were little, they would let the students run tests, practice running tests, and they would have faculty kids go over, and that was great fun. So,
Well, one of the, you're talking about when you were little, that house that we lived between Fox and
the
the
Scott-
The
library.
Scott House.
Mhm.
You had that porch so that you were pretty much in a shadow. And these ladies might like to hear the story of David and
The full
the, yeah,
moon?
the person that I remember he's about this tall. Go ahead.
Well, you tell it better than you can tell it. I think it illustrates that the whole college was a community and everybody knew each other. And so what happened in this story, this was clearly somebody who knew David and was friendly, who knew him. So you go ahead and tell. Do you want to tell it?
Well, David, I'm not sure whether he was playing out on the porch or what. The porch on the house this way. And so as a consequence, there's room for lots of toys and what have you there. It was there. On this occasion, it was twilight, if I remember correctly. And David was out paying no attention to what went on inside the house. Somebody calls out from Fox. What is it?
Well, they speak to him, or did he say hello to the moon, or he came in thinking the moon? Somebody must have said hello, David, and then
Yeah.
he came into the house and said the moon was talking to him. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah. The moon was
He
talking.
really thought it was a movie.
But
Yeah.
we've skipped over a bunch of years from
Yeah.
when you were a student to when you were on the faculty. Where did you go after you graduated?
It's best to visualize what year we're talking about.
Morgantown.
1939.
All right. 1939, you haven't got much in the way of industry in Virginia. Agriculture, yes. So, after I graduated from Randolph-Macon, I went home and a day or two thinking. And about the same time, I received a phone call from Randolph-Macon saying that I had a job the next year at West Virginia University. I'd never heard of the place. But since there were no other opportunities, I turned it down. So I would go to Morgantown, do the necessary cartwheel, and like the people that were plain sort of people, but I enjoyed working there as much as I have anywhere.
Did you worked at American Viscose just before then?
American Viscose.
Briefly?
Actually, American Viscose was just after.
I'm sorry, okay.
And then from American Viscose back to Randolph-Macon for the Army program. And from there to Oak Ridge for 2 years, and back to Virginia again. And
What was the Army program at Randolph-Macon? Were you all doing chemical?
I'm not sure I can't speak for somebody else, but it seems to have been, I recognize that there were some highly intelligent, I guess, I don't think we had any ladies in the program here, but there were some highly intelligent boys. And someone in the Defense Department decided it would be a shame to waste or take a chance on wasting brain power. So it's a fair number of the schools got training units. I guess the one we had here had 100 to 125 students. And one of them was sufficiently impressed by the geography of Hanover County to marry Judge Basile's daughter. Not that that matters, but Judge Basile, I think he was a retired judge. This boy was from Maryland. That's all I remember.
What did the Army program do? Did you all work on, like, I know you would talk about some of the chemicals involved, or in warfare?
To some degree, chemical is more physical. They picked the discipline. Chemistry is obvious. Around it, something that's not obvious. Bullington took over the drafting I'm not sure what it was going. What it was all bridge design, I think. And he's fine little lines, but he did a good job on that. There was 4 or 5 of you run out of questions.
Not a chance.
Not a chance. Nope, just making sure you were done with that thought. So you taught at Randolph-Macon for 43 years? Around there?
No. 4 to 3. I came. Oh, I don't know.
You finished at Oak Ridge. You had 2 years at Oak Ridge, right?
Yeah.
And then, didn't you come back to the farm for a
Yeah.
while and help for about a year at the farm? And then went on to back to Morgantown for your PhD to finish up?
Yeah.
Or you were teaching and then back and forth?
So back and forth some?
Yeah.
Is that how it happened?
Okay.
So you started teaching at
Sure.
Randolph-Macon.
About 1950.
Okay.
4 to 9.
Okay.
Okay.
Until 83.
Long time.
Long time.
It is, and yet it went quickly.
What do you think were the biggest changes you saw
In
in Randolph-Macon?
I think physical changes.
Sure.
I'm gonna hedge. I don't know.
You taught in the new chemistry
Okay.
building for a little bit. How did you feel about the change? The new science building?
Well, you got an elevator to go to the 3rd floor.
That's a good thing.
That's about all I know.
Okay.
I know it may seem odd that that would be the case, but I think it's because I was interested in the concept, not so much what A and B do, rather why. And you got the same concept wherever you are.
Okay.
Can you talk about Dr. Moreland a little bit? And I know you said one time how much you respected him, and was it during the war that the faculty even decided to take a pay cut so that things could continue on? You know, the teamwork that, you correct me on that, but
Yes, I've heard him say that more than once. But he didn't have any suggestion that I know of to the contrary. So the pay cut went into effect, and as a consequence, the faculty size remained fixed.
didn't have to fire anybody or.
Right.
Do you remember what you made back then? What your paycheck was? I seem to remember, am I wrong, at $500?
Sorry about that.
Probably. That might be high.
That may have been in the
That sounds a
50s.
little high.
That may have been in the 50s.
I was gonna say, I think when the faculty started making $1,000 a month, it was a big deal.
Yeah. Was it?
That would have applied in fairly near the end. I can tell you this, I never earned as much as 20,000
Mhm.
per year. I got close.
Well, you were there through big physical changes where Pettyjohn Hall came down and the new science building was built and Fox Hall was built. Those were big physical changes. But also the student body grew a lot. When we broke 1,000 students, that was a big deal. When women came,
I don't think it's ever gotten much above 1,000, 1,300 maybe.
1,300 now.
And somebody explained to me that there were certain brackets that were most of brackets of personnel that were more efficient. I don't understand why, but maybe so. In any event, that's what the college has actually done. Held the population about 12, 1,300. And to tell you one thing, I'm one of those who push for including girls. I mean, after all, it's Fremantle we're looking for. It's clear about it, yeah. And yeah, half of the population was being excluded. I don't think anybody objects to the fact that we've got girls here now.
I don't think anybody objects now. I think we know there was a lot of objection at the time. But most people seem to agree that it was a good thing for the college. Did you see any change when we went co-ed?
I'm not close enough to the workings of the college to know.
So it didn't affect the day-to-day running of the chemistry department? There were just more girls in the classes?
Basically, that's what it was.
Do you want to talk about Chi Beta Phi? That was very important to you, and I think at the same time, the chemistry fraternity, didn't you establish that on the campus? And
Science, not chemistry.
All sciences?
Chi Beta Phi was born in 1916. And it seems to have been the brainstorm of a chemistry student, forget his name, but he conferred with Canada, I guess, in chemistry. And together they made this laundry, and it's slowly spread over most of the eastern United States. I think it was, at one time, it was one chapter west of Mississippi. But, oh, maybe you ought not say anything about that. Because so many of the bright students take science, but not science majors. Okay, if you want to say that, but
Play, there we go.
the Army program was an attempt on the part of the trustees of Randolph-Macon to to keep it afloat.
Right.
You take away all of your income, you may not float. So that's what the Army program is all about. And a lot of others still were in the same boat. Now, having said that, they had numerous conferences to decide, had numerous conferences to decide what and how.
What I'm reading here are the letters going back and forth between Dr. Moreland and the Army Board on how they needed to keep you. It's about your deferment.
Need to give me
Mm-hmm. So I think I just handed that one to your daughter that says,
Okay, so he's ever seen
a little bit of flattery.
Professor William Franklin Boldridge is a member of the faculty of Randolph-Macon College as an instructor in the Department of Physics. His time is fully employed in the instruction of 250 soldiers assigned to the college under the 32nd Army Specialized Training Unit. Because of his education and specialized training in the physical sciences, he has rendered indispensable service in the war effort in connection with our soldiers who are taking basic engineering training on our campus. I respectfully request that he be given deferment in order to continue this important and necessary service. And he's
Who's
writing, J. Earl Moreland.
Who?
J. Earl Moreland, Dr. Moreland.
I thought so.
And he's writing to the local board number 1 in Morgantown, West Virginia. So they must have wanted to take you.
I think so.
Well, we're glad the college got to keep you.
And that was in 1943.
Now, the Army program at the college, was it just the college's faculty that taught there, or did the Army bring people in to help teach?
No, just college,
Okay.
so far as I know. You know enough about politics to know that it's something to make hay for us, our side. So you put it into effect. That's about what happened.
Yeah, I think so.
Sarah, so let me put it back on.
Give him a second to.
Yeah.
What's the question?
The question is, when you came back to teach, then you were a member of the faculty, which contained teachers that you had, and had respected. Who were some of the professors who were still there teaching that you had as a student, or how did that work?
I think the dynamic. I don't know what a dynamic is.
Well, when you came back to teach, you had Dr. Keeble, right? And then you were teaching alongside or with him. Who were some of the the professors who were still there when you came on the faculty? Who were some of the professors you'd had as a student?
Bullington in biology.
Dr. Updike?
Updike, yes. But Canada died. Forget what year he died.
Dr. Keeble?
Yeah. McNeil was still there, but I don't think he was teaching. I think he had shifted over to the business office. And in English, you had Webb. I think that was all.
Well, they were saying Dr. Blinko? Was Dr. Blinko?
Blinko wasn't teaching while I was a student. He must have come very soon afterwards.
How did it work when you became a peer or somebody teaching? Were they accepting when you came onto the faculty and helpful?
Well,
or?
I guess maybe I was wiser than I looked because I recognized you need, and I did. He's really respect her intelligence, and I didn't try to pull anything. So whatever questions I asked were honest questions.
I think you said one time you had so much respect for Dr. Cantor. Can you remind me what you said about him?
I don't remember.
That he was one of the most articulate or
Oh, definitely.
people you'd ever met?
All of you have had college courses, and as a consequence, can probably understand what I've got to say. Canada, everybody had a notebook. There was no textbook for the class. None. You could follow the speed of his lecture all the way through from start to finish, if you want. How he governed his speech so accurately, I don't know. But he's the best lecturer I've ever had, bar none. And some of his stuff was out of date. But his presentation was perfect.
Who inspired you to become a chemist? Was that Dr. Who really inspired you to go with the direction of chemistry?
I don't think anybody inspired me.
Okay.
I think what it was, who wants a physicist? At that period in time, late 30s, a dime a dozen. So, but chemists had use for them. And that's really why.
And what inspired you to do that?
Wait a minute. I missed a little of the first.
That at some point there will be a chemistry scholarship that you're helping the college develop. And what made you, what is your interest in helping the college with chemistry students? Which
the college, to me, is more or less like a family member. I want to help. If there's anything I can do. And among the very best things I can do is help with new student body who are really interested in the subject. I guess to put it as well as I know how to say it.
Did we miss anything? Is there a great Randolph-Macon story you want to tell us before we stop poking microphones at you?
There are a lot of stories that I have heard, mostly nonsense. I'll tell you one that when Randolph-Macon decided to furnish the furniture in Thomas Bryan, that was a considerable extra expense. So they got inexpensive bed, dresser, and desk. On one occasion, there was one particular bright student on campus, and other people would love to heckle. So this guy slips into the dormitory and into this room when the owner of the room is away. He just starts out on the floor. Pretty soon the owner comes back, goes to bed. The visitor has taken a coat hanger, put a little hook in it, pushed up again, caught the spring. You can imagine what happened.
You weren't involved in any of that.
No, that was John Holman.
Go on and name names. They can't.
Well, but John was a very bright boy. I think he finished PhD and finished his with DuPont. One of the ones that Clyde told, you know who I'm talking about, was this. Any of you have been in Duncan Memorial Chapel? You got the main assembly on the first floor, ground level.
This is the old chapel.
And you got another second floor. You know what's coming.
I know.
You want to.
They may not. You gotta tell us.
Nope, we don't know this one. You got to tell us.
All right, so I guess was it right at the school beginning?
What year, ballpark? What year would we be talking
I
about?
don't know. Way back, before my time. He goes out and gets a heifer, fully grown. He gets the heifer started up the stair, the second floor. Now, if you know anything about animals, you know good and well that you can force them to go forward, but you can't make them back up. So I did that, and got up on the second floor. I don't know who was involved in getting it out.
I understand the stairs were pretty steep and pretty windy, so even getting a cow up there is quite a feat.
This is a reliable source, though. He knew Ashland in and out, so this was a reliable source, no doubt.
The story doesn't tell anything about how long, how much that was required. I expect if you were going to do it now, the best way to go would be get a stock prod. It's actually electrical shock.
Mm-hmm.
And touch the animal and let it go.
You know, I was just thinking there's some other characters over there that were not faculty, because you were friends with, but there was Miss Lowry who ran the cafeteria for many, many years. And she had a cabin down, a cottage right near ours down the bay, she and her mother. And then Lawrence Emerson was a good friend. He would come over and you all would confab about fixing things and doing things quite often.
What was that called?
I think it would be
Eddie Rakesley?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Eddie Rakesley, he was but he was.
fair,
Ever heard of him?
fair, pray to say the esprit de corps was really remarkable. Everybody's in the same boat.
And we would go over from the Scott House. We would walk up there toward there was a fountain, not the fountain that's there now, but a smaller one in the CX. Wasn't it the CX? This is like memory lane. We'd go over there, and at some point, didn't somebody put green dye or Jello or something? That's probably pretty typical. But in that fountain that was back there, going to the CX.
On the other side of Old Chapel, is that what it is? On the
Yeah.
plans, that's what it looks like, the pictures
Yeah.
I have.
It was sort of, the CX was
Let's see.
campus exchange, yeah, and it was snacks and bookstore and, who ran that for a long time, I'm sorry, I'm thinking this would be in the 50s, but that was all behind Dr. Updike's house and the Orsers. Go ahead, fill in here.
I remember the place, but I can't think who ran it.
Who did you were friends with, you did things, Catherine Stevens and Beth Baskin and who all, Betsy Jones?
Well, all the faculty wives, I think, were friends, and
And we kind of skipped over that too, because we went from being in college to coming back to teaching, and at some point along there, you got married and had children.
Oh, that.
Well, you were born in
51.
51.
Yeah. Well, you all were married what year? Because you just had your 66th anniversary. Out at the farm.
So both your children were born in Ashland?
And Dave was born in 54.
54.
54. And the children went to school there, and I guess they got a well-rounded education.
Do you remember the receptions though? Didn't it was one of the college wives groups that would do receptions for many events.
Well, they were in the Methodist church, and we would help give receptions. It must have been in graduation time. I don't know when. It was a nice town to live in. Very different from Morgantown.
At that time, did the college students stay mostly on campus, or were they out in the community as well?
The college
The students?
Well, they lived in the dormitory, most of them. Now, after the World War II, they had apartment buildings down there, and well, it was a lower part of Henry Street. And a lot of the faculty, a lot of the students came back from the World War II and lived in these little buildings. They were wooden, weren't they?
Because they got married during the war, some of them.
Yeah.
Right,
The GI Bill, so they were older, some
Yeah.
of them.
and they needed like married housing as opposed to dorm.
Herman Collier lived down there, and his wife worked in the dean's office, or where did she work? Herman Collier's wife worked for the college while he finished up his degree.
Yeah.
I can't remember whose office she worked in.
I remember, I'm trying to remember, when he just retired, the soccer coach did soccer camp.
Stevens.
Warner.
Warner.
When he first came to Randolph-Macon, they lived in, and his mother was with him, and she spoke very little English, right? I'm trying to remember that story, and I remember we went over, I was very young when he came, and we went over and took cookies or something to his mother, who had come out of Germany with him. Do you remember that? And
can't
they
Took
lived,
cookies to so many people.
I can't remember anything.
but there was a very interesting, I don't know if you've interviewed him, but Helmut
No.
Warner, but his story
He's-
is very
Is he
interesting.
still living?
I think so.
believe Coach Warner is still living.
He had a very interesting, I can't remember the whole thing, but getting out of Germany, and his mother didn't speak, I don't know if somebody is interviewing him, he's really
Have to track
got a
him down.
story.
Mm.
But we took cookies to his mother, and they lived, if I'm not mistaken, there was an apartment, it was either where the Blackburns were or on the east side of the railroad tracks. There was I think it was on the east side, there was a 2-story where the Brock Center and all is in there now, but I think he was,
I don't know.
okay, so much for that. But that's good.
You
it should
remember
be in
more of it than I do.
Well, no, they're just fragments, but that was something that I think was very typical when somebody new did come.
Oh,
The
yeah.
faculty wives were very welcoming, and they'd be there with a box of cookies or sort of a welcome.
Yeah, well, I think the faculty then was small, and it was more family. You felt like you were part of a group.
Now, when you lived in the house at campus, did you pay the college rent, or was that part of your pay? Do you know?
Did you pay rent for when we lived at the Scott House in college housing, was there any rent, or was that considered part of the,
Rent.
Okay.
it was pretty much a barn of a place, I recall.
Because one thing we don't know is whether people paid, or that was considered part of their salary, since the
I didn't
college
know that.
didn't pay that well.
Do you remember how much rent we paid on Henry Street at
25 a month.
$25 a month? I remember we had oil circulators and a wood stove, no heat in the living room where I had to practice the piano. And you got up early in the morning to start the wood stove in the kitchen, so we had breakfast. And you stapled plastic all around the foundation because it was just pretty much air would blow right on through. But
These people have gotten the wrong impression about foundation.
okay,
We're talking about, on the outside, of course, a little layer of plastic all the way from ground level to the ceiling. A pretty big piece of plastic. But it made a big difference.
the wind was blowing through otherwise. I just think it was really cool. I could drop toys down through the floor. Yeah, but-
Put this on
Yeah, okay. do you remember anything about that house? You know, who had lived in it before? Obviously, somebody named Scott.
The skies,
Yeah. Who was there before we were?
coaches, I think.
One of the coaches.
Was it?
I think so.
I don't know.
I'm trying to remember the names from the maps I was looking at the other day, and I think there were some coaches who lived close, right in that area, so.
Was it McConnell?
The skies was scheduled for the dismantling. And all of a sudden, with the Army program and so on, we had to have a space to live. That was the only thing left. That's why we happened to get
So it was actually taken down about 65.
I don't
It's for the
know,
library.
probably about
I
that.
think it was taken down for the library.
Well, the
specifically.
library was built before it was taken down,
Yeah.
because we were looking, I mean, we were watching the library, but it was,
Just too close.
It was
60,
scheduled to be
about
taken
65.
down about the same time as the library addition was complete.
You'll forgive me, but I used to love the old library. Can you talk about the old library when it was in what's the administration now? That smelled good. It
Yeah.
smelled like a library. It smelled like you. That's a grand library. And it had steps when you walked up in the front, inside. Am I remembering right? When you walked in the front door of the old library, there were steps that walked up? You tell.
Yes,
Steps, the entrance to the old library. You would take me over there.
yeah.
It smelled good. Smelled like books, smelled like books.
Leather binding.
Marble steps on the inside. And I'd say the steps were long.
Did you spend a lot of time studying in the library when you were a student, or more in the lab?
No.
Okay.
He spent his time out on Route 1, bumming up.
The point is, I gave what seemed a trite answer. I didn't mean it to be. My work has each year, been more and more in science. And you don't worry about what Tom, Dick, and Harry said.
Do any of your students keep up with you, or do you keep up with any of your students? Or even for a while?
They don't try, not succeed.
That's really something that's always been very rewarding for you, is the feedback from
Yeah.
students and even years later.
Yeah.
He still emails.
Yeah, tired wrist. Tired wrist.
A little bit. I do gardening, I have good strong hands.
We done?
Yeah. Anything else you want to tell us? This is your chance.
That photo album. Might jog the memory. Here's one.
How many buys?
This is Route 1 Going to Doswell. Near Doswell, you cross the river. The river was 100 yards wide, maybe 200. It was really going through. And we went up and had some more photographs.
And these are photos you took when you were a student and took a class. Who taught that class?
Dr. Bullington taught the photography class, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You asked about carbide of silver nitrate.
You use too much of it or not?
It deliberately put on. This has always been one of my favorites. I had not the faintest idea who it may be. But I got a library book, and it had the negative of the photograph. A little black child sitting in a high chair.
Where did you develop? Now, where was this in PACE in the chemistry building that you did the developing of the
It was in basement.
basement? A big charming place.
I've never been down there.
Now, did you have to buy your own film, or did the college buy the film and the chemicals?
You bought your own.
Okay. And did you use your own camera, or was that a college camera?
Either way you want to do.
Okay.
This was my roommate and the girl he eventually married aboard Skyline Drive. I don't remember what location.
Somebody Keys
No, it was Story.
Stoy.
Was that your roommate all 4 years at Randolph-Macon?
I room the store for three years. My older brother 1 year.
These are buildings that you all are probably familiar with. Good photos, Dad. I hope mine lasts that long.
Good chemical developing.
Washed them good. Washed, rinsed them. You want me? I'll hold that one. I think that actually belongs in the back.
Oh.
Yeah.
This was a quote, new gym.
Yep, the alumni gym.
Right.
It was fairly new then. It was fairly new.
We have a hard time convincing students that that's not the old gym, the current students. Somebody talks about the old gym and they're like, yeah, it's still standing, what are you talking about? No.
Wrong one.
Yep. I forget. Seems to me it was completed about 24.
I think so. I don't.
Do you remember, maybe, I don't want to get you in hot water, but there was controversy when they took down the old gym. There was a good bit of
Oh,
controversy.
yeah. It sure was. And I think it's a shame that it would happen, but yes, yours truly, a physics experiment. Oh, yeah. Story. He either broke or sprained an ankle. He's a football player. And he was taking a shower. And I mentioned Dr. Canada. Yes, Canada. I think this is Bob Peach. Remember, it doesn't go back that far.
I think you got two. Let me just see if there's anything here. That's what I remembered. Physics staff, Army special training. That's what I remembered.
That's Cable. And Bruce English.
Who is this?
Magneto.
Who is this right here? Looks like Dr.
The
Keeble.
tall one.
Got glasses and a white mustache. Is that Keeble?
Cable.
Okay. I'm upside down. I think it's listed.
Oh, yes.
Who would that be?
Two co-eds. One was Lavinia Red, and I'm not sure who the other one.
Lavinia Red?
Red.
Is that Carter's mother? No, that's
Carter's
sister.
sister.
I had no idea. Huh.
I can't remember sure what these are.
This one says it's Chi Beta Phi.
Now I have to ask, is that sunbathing on the roof that you were talking about?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look at the spindles. You could
X-rated, I'd say.
He's X-rated too.
Purely a photography experiment, I'm sure.
Copied them out of some, I don't remember where.
Now, did you get an A in your photography class?
I don't remember. You know,
Looks like Lib to me.
it is.
Lib Jacobs.
Family in Morgantown.
Girlfriend and later wife of a very good friend in Morgantown.
And they were probably, again,
These are your back in childhood pictures here, I think. Yeah. I have a question. Where's that football picture? Just want to look, there was a football picture somewhere. Let me go to this football picture here. Let me move your thumb, because it's brittle. Why did you put this in here, and did you know the people in the picture? Oh, it goes this way.
Oh, yeah.
Can you, Leroy Anderson, Everett Welch, Captain Alex Waleski, they stayed in Ashland, didn't they? Lyle McFall, now his son, didn't his son come to Randolph-Macon? Charles McFall. They were from,
Before. May still be living in Front Royal.
I think Charles went to Collegiate, was athletic director. His son went here too. Bob Stoy, your roommate.
And he was my roommate.
Al. I have a question for you. You know, you said your roommate broke his ankle. You never wanted David to play football. You never liked football because you said you didn't like the head injuries that resulted. Did you ever see something? Did you ever see that happen? At Randolph-Macon? Do you remember what happened, or is it not good to talk about?
You can think what you please about me, but I am anti-football. I'm anti-football because a significant amount of young adults have been seriously injured, some of them fatally. The story picks up at that point. On a beautiful October day, mild, game between Randolph-Macon and somebody else, I don't. And the stands are packed. The last play before the half, whistle blew, everybody got up off the field, except one player, one Randolph-Macon player. Somebody waved, coach I suppose, and the college physician, Dr. Ray, came chugging out on the field with his little satchel. He looked at the boy. They took him, loaded him in an ambulance, they went away. I think that was the first game at the Ashland Rescue Squad ambulance. Anyway, he seemed to be doing reasonable. A week went by, a month, 6 months, a year, still in the hospital. I don't remember how long he was there. But when he came out, he had the mentality of about a 4-year-old. He had been fired cabin material. To have that go right in front of you, about 4 hours here in the other wall, maybe 30 feet. It shook me. And I've watched football since, but always with the apprehension it could happen again. Is that the story you want?
I'd never heard it, but I just knew you had a reason.
Do you know about what year that was?
the sake of argument, I'd say in 1951 too.
Okay. Should have asked you a long time ago.
Huh?
I could have asked you a long time ago. I just never knew. I'm not surprised. I thought it was something